Hi everyone, Derek Cooper here. One of the things that I get asked the most is how do I hit the ball longer? Everybody wants to hit the ball longer. It definitely makes the game a lot easier. If I can hit longer shots off the tee, I then get shorter shots into greens. I can carry hazards more and bunkers more easily. So some added length is definitely an advantage. The problem is that most players want to try and generate the speed to do that in the wrong way. And then second of all, they believe that it's all about club head speed, whereas you can maintain your club head speed but change your launch conditions a little bit and actually gain some yardage. So today we're going to talk about how can you launch the driver? How can you hit your driver maximum distance without making massive changes to your swing speed and massive changes to your swing technique? And it's going to add a couple of yards to your drives. It's going to give you shorter shots into greens, give you the potential to shoot some lower scores. So when we're talking about getting the maximum distance you can out of the driver, there's a couple of things that I want you to keep in mind before you even swing the club. And that is, number one, that if we're going to maximize our distance, then we need to be hitting the ball in the middle of the club face, with the club face close to square to target, and the path of the club going close to the target line. If we can get those things to match out, we can start to maximize our distance. Most players I see lose a lot of distance because they've got the club going wiping across the golf ball too much, typically too much out to in. And then second of all, the club face is usually too open to that path, so they're losing distance because the ball's curving too much. The other thing we'll tend to see is if the club's traveling too much from in to out, then the club face is too close to that. When the club face is closed, you're going to de-loft the club so the ball's not getting up in the air enough and inflating too low, and that's where they're losing some distance. So if we're looking to maximize the distance or to launch your driver, we want to make sure, number one, that the ball position is just inside your left instep for the right-handed player. We want to make sure that the tee height is set up so that you've got half the ball above the top of the club. And then most importantly, we want to talk about, well, how am I going to set my body? So when I set up at address, I want to make sure that my hips are tilted slightly to the right. I'm going to make sure my shoulders are also tilted slightly to the right. And in doing so, I'm going to set myself up behind the golf ball. Now what this is going to encourage is the club to travel a little more down the line or a little more inside. The second thing it's going to encourage is for me to then be striking the ball where the club is traveling level to slightly up. Now I'm going to accomplish that by my setup, not because I'm going to swing up on the golf ball. I want to make sure that I maintain my balance. I'm going to keep my spine angle that I have here. You can see my body is tilted slightly away from target. Again, setting up that attack angle, which is going to make sure the club is traveling level to slightly up. And then when I start my golf swing, I want to make sure that the club is building speed to the ball. A lot of the time I see players want to try and generate maximum speed straight away at the top of the swing. The reality is in the golf swing, it's the big muscles that start the downswing, so I've got to let my lower body lead that motion. So once I get up here, my lower body leads, my upper body follows, and the club is building speed to the golf ball so that by the time I get to the golf ball, the club is then traveling at maximum speed, level to slightly up with the club face square and the path traveling pretty close to the target line, and that's what's going to give me my maximum distance. It is not going to be a case of aggressive from the top of the swing, body getting too much ahead of it, which is what we see majority of amateurs do. So again, ball position just inside the left heel. Tee height is so the ball is half above the top of the club. I want to make sure that my hips are tilted slightly, shoulders tilted slightly, spine tilted slightly, so that then when I swing, I let the club build speed to the ball. Club's traveling level to slightly up by the time I hit it. I'm going to launch the ball at its optimum height, and that's what's going to give you maximum distance on your drives.